So, welcome!
Welcome to Mile High Thoughts.
Jinx. Okay. So, minimalism. A la tiny homes, but not always. That's not necessary. That's probably the extreme version. But really just keeping life simple, not having junk. You probably have heard about that decluttering movement, like hold an object. If it doesn't give you joy, get rid of it, whatever that book is. And, it's now a Netflix special, but it was a book.
Unless, you want to play coy and be like, everything brings me joy. Which I know a lot of you will.
That's an easy trap to get in, though, I feel like. Because, once you start down that path, once you give something meaning that it maybe doesn't deserve, then you start doing that with everything, it's a piece of crap, but you're like, oh, but my mom gave me this, so even though it's a piece of crap, it means something to me, or my cousin gave me this, or I had this from this period of my life that I don't have a lot of stuff from, so I need this as a memento, and you just, before you know it, you're keeping everything,
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on what your standard of joy is. I guess you can justify anything.
I know, some people like to work on objects and be handy and whatever, so they got all sorts of random junk, wood and gears and stuff like that, so.
That has no function right now, but it might.
But it might. You could do something totally cool. I'm trying not to fall into a prop trap. How many times I go online and I'm like, oh, that'd be great for a video, that'd be great for a video, that'd be great for a video, and I just want to buy all these props, and I'm like, what are you going to do with it? It's just going to sit there forever.
A lot of just-in-case stuff.
Yeah, and I have some already. I have a little bin full of props already.
Well, and if I'm being honest, I actually have had uses for those things a lot of the time. You don't know why or, when you're going to need it, but a lot of the time it actually does eventually come through. I've had things where had some kind of problem with something that was broken or whatever, and I was like, what can I do? And then I think of something I had and I figure it out. Sometimes they do actually serve a purpose eventually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is true.
So, and I guess hoarders are the opposite, the extreme. They can't get rid of anything. And minimalists are the extreme of get rid of everything, and most of us are in the middle.
Right. Or you could be like my grandpa, who anything free he'll get.
Who is the funnest person ever.
He needs to just open his own thrift store, because he doesn't keep these things either. He's like, I've got all this junk, right? Get rid of it. But he still picks up everything he sees. Like, oh, I found this hat on the side of the road.
He needs his own reality show is what he needs. This man is hilarious.
Have you had very many minimalistic experiences? Or what kind of person are you?
Well, I think that I'm becoming more and more of one as I get older. I think before I was kind of just like everybody else. I want this, I want that, that's cool, I want that, I need this, that's a very natural kind of just neutral state of being in America, I feel like. That's what all the messaging is. So until you actively are either looking for something different or stumble into something different, that's the way you're going to be. So I'd say I was not really materialistic, but kind of, just as an American, yes, I was. Not more so than other people, but, just in that standard, that's the way we are. But yeah, lately, I was very interested in the tiny house thing, and I think that we were pretty excited and down to do it. Even though that's extreme, I was ready to live in a 200 square foot box. I could have done it. And the only thing that was a barricade, logistically, was our pets. But that's one thing that I feel like I could truly do that I'm not sure a lot of people feel like they can. So in that sense, I feel like I'm capable of the extreme. But right now, I'm trapped in a world where I need to be more moderate about it. But, yeah, I think more and more, I've had just these random urges to get rid of shit. And, my closet. I'm just looking at these things, and I'm like, I haven't worn this since I don't even know when. I've got some stuff in there that I literally haven't worn.
Ever?
I don't think I do anymore, but yeah, I did.
Oh my god.
Because I bought it, and, you know, I think I at least tried it on, and it didn't fit how I wanted, and I didn't want to deal with taking it back, and then it just sat there, and I thought that, you know, and this is really uncomfortable, but maybe in the right circumstances where I need to look a certain way, I will have to suck up that it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'll be glad I have something nice, because most of my shit is, you know, t-shirts and jeans, you know? So I was like, in some universe, even though this doesn't fit me right, it might have to do for some circumstance, and I just kept it. But, yeah, so clothes has been a big thing for me, because I'm like, why do I have so much shit? Why am I always doing laundry? For fuck's sake, I like 3 shirts. And it happened to me with the closet, too. Every time I went into our closet to look for something, I was just blown away by how much bullshit was in there. I was like, why do we have 8 flashlights? Fuck! Like...
Because the batteries died, we can't go buy batteries. We'd rather just get a whole new flashlight.
That's insane, though.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example. That's insane. And, you know, and we have a box full of spray paint because, like, for a while I was really into, you know, like, spray paint art. And I was, and it made sense for a while. I was into it. I was, like, making cool beanies with, like, spray paint stencil designs and stuff. And, like, I was interested in making shirts. And for a while it made sense to have that. But I lost that interest literally 5 years ago. And we still have spray paint cans. That probably don't even work anymore.
Right,
you
I
know?
know, they're all clogged up.
Yeah, so just this sense of clutter really stresses me out aesthetically. And I think that that's kind of the driving force for me, is to be like, okay, well, I don't like looking at junk, and I'm not going to use it, so let's get rid of it. And that was kind of the driving thing for me. Like, for a lot of people, it's money motivated. It was actually just stressing me out to have a bunch of shit around me. Like, I like a clean, you know, simple environment. So that was kind of my driving force, and I still just get waves of it, and I kind of want to take it to that next level. And the other moment I had recently was thinking about crap that's kind of on my, oh, I need to buy this, back of my mind thing. Like we've been using this chair that goes with a round table that we have, this kind of like a little dining table. But I've been using that chair as a desk chair for like years. And I'm like always talking about, God, I need to get a desk chair. I need to get a desk chair. And this chase actually that we're sitting on right now has a rip in it from the dogs. And I was like, I need a new chase. It's not that comfortable anyway, and it's ripped. Fuck it, I'm just gonna get a new chase. And now I've just had this moment where I was like, you know, that chair fits the desk just fine. I'm not uncomfortable. Like, no, it's not meant for it, but does it cause problems for me to use it? No, not really. Do I sit on this chase a lot? Is it really that important that it's not comfortable for 8 hours in a row? No. When am I gonna do that anyway? And when you add up the expenses of all these things that I have in the back of my mind, pretty soon it's thousands of dollars. And it's like I'm having this moment now where I'm just like, no, I don't need a desk chair, actually. I haven't had one in years, and it's been fucking fine. You know, so that's kind of my newest, latest wave, has been less get rid of stuff that we have and more quit buying stuff. So that's been my experience thus far.
Okay.
When you think about it, what do you think of?
When I think of minimalism?
Minimalism, and like, what is appealing about it to you? Like, in what way? Is it like a money-saving thing, or a simplicity thing, or...
It's...
Or is it appealing to you?
Actually, it's more of an environmental thing. Every time I start buying stuff now, I'm like, this is made out of stuff that's not going to ever degenerate. You know, I'm starting to do this a lot. I'm like, fuck. I have a lot of those too, and I'm like, man, I can't get this as plastic. I can't get this because it's metal. I just want to go glass crazy. It's really what I want to do. Ceramic crazy. That's all good. Stone stuff. And I'm like, why can't I should just make my own stuff. I'm starting to think that way too. It's like, why don't you just build up skills as well instead of just going out and buying this crap and giving all this government and all these big corporations money? Why don't you just learn a new skill and make some, very sentimental, a chair or whatever. I have people at work who make insane things, lighters and torches and stuff. I go, how?
Yeah, I'd be like afraid that I would blow myself up or something.
Yeah, I know. But I like seeing those people and hearing those stories because I know it's possible. I'm like, you just picked this stuff up and did it? And I'm like, yeah.
I am so unskilled in that, but I think that it's cool when people have it. And something that I've learned from you is how easy it is to acquire skills. Anymore, because I'm not that person that really, YouTubes it, but I've seen you do it several times, and, that day that you fixed my car, because, my car is overheating, it's a fucking mess, it's bad, it'll go back to normal, and I think I'm okay, and then it would overheat again instantly or whatever, and I was just like, fuck, my car is fucked. I gotta take it to a mechanic, I'm gonna have to tow it there, this is gonna suck, it's gonna cost me hundreds of dollars, and then you were like, hold on, and you get on YouTube, and you lift up the hood, and I'm sitting there, okay, Cass is gonna fix it. Not really thinking this was gonna happen, and then it did, and it didn't even take you that long. You watched a video or two, and you're like, well, I'm gonna see if it's this, and it was pushing in the spark plug or something. It was ridiculous. It was that, and you saved probably $1,000.
Oh yeah, it was the cap. The cap on something needed to be tightened a certain amount. And that's when your gas cap was cracked. That's when we found out your gas cap was cracked.
Gas cap was cracked?
Or not gas cap, but whatever it was.
Oh, you're thinking about a different car than I am, actually.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
Well, because this is normal for you now, because it worked out so well, so now you're doing it more. But the very first, I'm talking about way back with the Sebring.
Yeah.
The very first time you did it. And it blew me away that after watching maybe 10 minutes of YouTube, you've literally probably saved me $1,000.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of value in learning skills and in at least attempting to do stuff yourself, because we just don't anymore.
Yeah, we don't. And yet we have all this information out there now. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing how-to videos. And so, yeah, we have more information more than ever. We can do this.
Mm-hmm. How do you think we as a society got so deep in that just buy your problems away thing? Because we do it with everything. Even we were just saying with the batteries and the flashlights. We just buy our problems away.
Convenience.
It is convenient, but is it though? Because now you have to come up with this money to supply this habit you have of just buying your way out of everything.
Well, you're working anyway.
Well, you're working so much because you need so much money because you're buying your way out of everything, right?
Yeah, well, it's work and then, spend whatever you have left of your money after you pay all your bills and whatever. Or work, come home, build something, which is taking up all of your time, and you're probably not going to want to do any of that anyway. You just want to come home and Netflix and chill,
Yeah, right.
So.
Netflix and chill is solid.
And not to mention that just the media wants us to buy.
It's just we're so thoroughly conditioned, because I feel yes, we want to Netflix and chill, and yes, doing all these things requires work, but I feel the only reason we don't want to do that is because we don't have any energy, and we don't have any energy because we're working so fucking hard. Mm-hmm. But if we were doing more for ourselves, we wouldn't need so much money, when we wouldn't have to work so much, and then we would have energy to build a table or whatever. Mm-hmm. But now we're stuck in this catch-22 where it's how do you
balance work with your other hobbies and whatever.
Plus, if you don't have a passion for that, if you're not into building I'm not, you have an interest in it, I think it's a little bit easier for you mentally to get there. For me, I don't want to fucking build a table. Nothing about that sounds fun to me.
No, you don't want to do math?
No.
I
don't want to measure. I don't want to use power tools. No. I could and I would, and maybe it'd be worth it, and maybe it would even be fun. But, you just saying that to me, it does not sound fun to me.
Well, you have meltdowns even just doing, IKEA furniture and stuff like that. So, of course, you don't want to do it. That sounds even worse. Now you've got 0 directions in front of you. And
I can put a lot of stuff together.
I know you can put it together, but you don't like it.
No, I don't. You're right. I'm a bad lesbian. So, where did you fall on, like, the spectrum of how you accumulate stuff, or how much of a minimalist you are or aren't?
I accumulated a lot of stuff up until I was homeless. And then I got real comfortable real fast with minimalism.
Yeah, that's pretty limiting.
It's very limiting. I think, what did I have? I think I had 2 big duffel bags full of stuff in a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And that went with me everywhere. And I actually kept mementos more than anything. I kept CDs and tapes, anything with music, and my writings. Tossed all of my books, but I kept like yearbooks. And my friends would draw me little stuff or make me little stuff, and I kept all of those things. So it was like a little bit of clothes, a lot of mementos, and a lot of media. Yeah, that's basically it. And I was homeless a few times, so it never really... Once I moved out at 17, I went minimalist until I met you, pretty much.
It's my fault that you have stuff now?
Yeah. Like, I even got insecure about it. Remember when I first moved in?
Actually, yeah. Because I had already been accumulating for a while. I'd had my own place for quite a while, and it just sort of naturally fills up with stuff. And then you came into it with a couple boxes.
Yeah.
Like big boxes, but still a few boxes.
Yeah.
And so basically you're living in this place that is mine. It looks like mine visually, like everything is mine.
Right. It felt like being homeless again and couch hopping, It still felt temporary. It's like, there was nothing me in the house. There was nothing saying that I resided there.
You know what's funny too, actually? You just led me into another thought that I had, because I remember when, because it's like, all right, let's address this, let's fix this, let's buy some stuff together, or you pick out some stuff you want, and it was hard for me, not to have you there and have your stuff there. I wanted you there, and I wanted your style and everything, but, I felt like a lot of the stuff you wanted was, just clashing with what I had going on, and...
Even though it was red and black, still not good enough.
We just didn't have the same style, what I thought was aesthetically pleasing and what you thought were aesthetically pleasing were not the same, and we kind of clashed about it a little bit, because I would resist something and be like, oh, I don't really like the look of that, and then you would be like, oh, I need to have something,
Yeah.
And it led me into this thought about, because I was watching people talk about minimalism and stuff, and how they were saying I need to buy this and this and this, even though I have perfectly good tables and chairs and paintings and everything, if I'm moving, or if I've gone through some life change, or if just all my stuff is ratty, I want to create an atmosphere. Then I want to create a statement about who I am as a person. I don't just need a table. I need a table that reflects my soul. I don't just need some
Fight Club.
Yeah.
Looking through the IKEA.
Yeah, exactly. What table represents me as a human being? But it's true, because
It is
sucked
true.
into that. Because even look at this room now.
This is the epitome of you.
This is the epitome of me, and this is the room where I feel the most comfortable in this house. This is where I'm happy. This is my good place. This is my zen zone, because everything
is minimal.
It's minimal. But it is also very caught up in a certain identity, and it's do we need to just let that whole concept go, that I have an identity and then it's going to be reflected with the stuff I buy, that we need to express identity via purchases, is that a thing that we've...
Kinda, yeah.
Because I love my stuff, don't get me wrong, and I feel like we're not too excessive with it, but still, we are trying to express ourselves via...
Everything.
Via everything, yeah, via spending money.
We're walking around like giant flags. For real, though.
Yeah.
And we're just all like, hey, I like this and this is my thing and I think this is funny and look at my cute hair like this. If you like what you see, come be my friend, come be my significant other or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, that has been kind of funny that you've brought up before, because, I will get really weird about spending, $50 on dinner. or $200 on the doctor, or, all these different things. I don't want to spend that, but I'll go drop $500 on a tattoo tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will hesitate to go to the doctor.
Yes.
To look after my health. But if there's a tattoo I want,
oh my god,
if there's a really perfect piece of art I see, shit that's not gonna actually help me live my life at all.
Right.
And I have an easier time spending bigger amounts of money on it.
Mm. So bizarre. I know, but now we're starting to get to the point where, like, we're starting to accumulate a lot of stuff again. And you have a lot of family. I love the hell out of you, so I feel like I'm constantly buying her stuff, and your family's constantly showering you with stuff, so it's accumulating quickly. And we're starting to be like, I don't even want to ask for gifts anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, just give me like a gift card or money. And it's like, trying really hard to think of what we could do, and we finally are starting to think, what do you call it? Practical things. Mm-hmm. I've always been a fan of practical gifts, but now getting even further into it, it's like maybe some gardening stuff. Yeah.
All right. And that is life sustaining and money saving. That's a gift that keeps giving. Mm-hmm. Because now you're not spending as much at the grocery store. That has a very specific purpose. Plus, I'm a big believer in energy and what that does to your food, and I know that's not for everyone, but I believe in that stuff, and I know you do too. So something like growing our own food, that's a very meaningful gift to us, So, there are still good gifts, and there are still good things to have.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to, and here's the thing too, people love you and they want to give you gifts, and they're doing their best to give you a gift that they think you're going to like, it's not their fault that it's stuff, that's how we're conditioned. And then you get involved in it too, where no matter how much you do or don't like it, now it has meaning to you because it was given to you by someone you care about. Now you don't want to get rid of it.
Right. Oh, where's that shirt I gave you? Sorry, Mom, I tossed it at the thrift store.
And I've never actually had that happen to me, but that's because I keep it. Because not even out of dread from that, but because it does mean something to me that I was given that gift. And I have shit from so long ago, just because it was given to me by so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you should honor those who are being kind to you and showing you love, and at the same time, that's not minimalist. If that happens to you enough times, you have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Usually what I do is I keep the stuff that almost spells out their love or care for me, cards, drawings, whatever, but then everything else, I'm like, I don't need this. Bye-bye.
Which is sweet, and I'm glad you do that, and I feel like a lot of people don't, though. I feel like most people get a gift and the trash goes straight, or the card goes straight in the trash.
Uh-huh.
And you're right, that's reverse, that's backwards. Because what you need to cherish and hold on to is the love and the sentiment.
Right.
And not the thing.
Right, exactly. And it takes up less space.
It does. You're right. You could keep every card you're ever given, and it's gonna be this big eventually, maybe.
Yeah. So you got a little shoebox full of cards.
Yeah. Yeah. And that actually reminds me of a friend's Facebook post that I saw, where she discovered that her daughter had kept every note that she'd ever written her.
Oh, yeah. That was so
And
cute.
I just, got misty. I was like, that's the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because, moms do that. They write you little notes, they put it in your lunch, or they just leave it out, or whatever. Or
kids don't usually
cards,
give a fuck.
And they don't usually give a fuck. I remember giving a fuck, but I didn't keep it, I remember being sweet and making my day, but then it went in the trash,
Right, yeah.
Or maybe even I kept it for a while, but eventually it goes to the trash, and this idea that this kid just kept a shoebox, like you said, that's what reminded me of every note her mom had ever given her. And I was just like, oh my God, yes, that is keeping stuff done right.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, just talking about minimalism in general, just the stress level.
Yeah.
The stress that comes with just having a bunch of junk. And
I'm big on that one.
yeah. And also, the more stuff you have, the more stuff is gonna break, the more stuff you're gonna have to maintain and clean and whatever. It's a lot more work. And that's why I kind of feel like that's where more money, more problems comes from, because you just start buying more and more stuff, and you gotta worry about more and more stuff. Yeah. So it's like
tougher too, just to keep up with. I remember that was another thing that got me thinking about minimalism, is because I was like, why am I always doing dishes? Why am I always washing clothes? There are 2 of us. How are there 80 dishes in the sink? There's 2 of us. We need 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives, 2 plates, 2 cups, done.
Right.
You know, like...
Wash it when you're done.
Yes, wash it when you're done, you know, and it just felt so excessive, you know, and I could see maybe even going up to a set of 4 for guests or whatever.
Right, exactly.
But that's it. Mm-hmm. You know, but we don't. We have cabinets full of cups.
You know what I mean? And then you buy trinkets and souvenirs and crap, so you have like 50 shot glasses you're never going to use.
See, and that's the thing. We've been taught to, like, immortalize things through stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and you've actually done a really good thing for me in teaching me to value the videos and all that and pictures and stuff, because that's really preserving the memory.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
a shot glass.
Yeah, like what does that tell me? I'm 80 years old and my memory's going and I see a shot glass from Canada. What does that tell me other than I went to Canada at some point?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. I remember the earliest thing I was ever told about, you know, just cleanliness and stuff like that was this girl I was dating was like, you gotta clean under the bed. And I was like, why? It's just stuff under the bed, you know? I just no, we're gonna take it all out and move it in the closets, toss everything. And I'm like, what? It's just subconsciously, you know that shit is under your bed. And you don't sleep well. She's like, watch how well you sleep tonight after you do all this.
Was it true?
Yes. Yeah. You feel it. You know it. Subconsciously, you know. Yes. It's like, oh, I got this fucking rat's nest under here, you know. Even with closets and stuff. Oh, I know once I open those closet doors, it's chaos, you know.
Yeah, that was happening with our closet bad for me. Because it's like, anytime I needed something, and I was like, oh, but it's in the closet, I would just get this shot of anxiety. And just it would stress me out. And actually, to this day, when I have a particularly stressful day, I have to clean. And it's not because cleaning as an act, I know some people get, like, relaxation out of that. I don't get relaxation out of the act of cleaning. I get relaxation out of being in a clean space. You know, some people just, like, they feel better when their hands are busy. That's not it for me. It's that the room stresses me out.
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, I could live in filth and be totally okay. I preach all of these things, but I'm awful at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because, I mean, I know some people they aren't stressed out by it, and it's, you know, it's organized chaos or controlled chaos or whatever you want to call it, but I don't know, I guess it's just... Do you feel like it truly doesn't take a mental toll? Do you just feel like your brain is wired differently?
Maybe. I don't feel like it's affecting me, but I know at some level it is, because the second I have everything all cleaned up, I'm like, I'm going to be in this room forever, you know? Right. It's so nice to be able to just put my drink down on the desk without having to be like, Tetrising everything, make sure nothing falls off the desk, and there we go. But, yeah.
You know, even this room right now is like a little stressful for me.
The rug.
The rug is stressing me out. The incense ashes on the table are stressing me out. I just have too much stuff on my desk right now. I have like a very clean surface desk. The shoes. And this is a fairly clean room. This is my office is usually like on it. Like I don't have a lot of problems maintaining this room, which goes back to what you were saying. The less stuff you have, the easier it is to maintain. You know, so like for me right now, even though this is probably still the cleanest room in the house, even this is stressful.
It's hard for me because I've got a lot of electronic stuff. I have just cords up the wazoo and I can't.
Oh, just the word cords stresses me out.
I can't justify justify getting rid of them because we do end up using them. We
Yes.
do end up using them. So it's just like, well, I'll just keep it in this, this box. But then I throw everything out trying to find this one cord. And then I'm like, yay, I found it. And just wander out without putting everything back in. And then that's my life.
Yeah. You know what's funny too is, I don't know if you have this problem, but I do. I will keep something insignificant for a decade. The week after I finally throw it away, I need it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What's up with that, though? That's why it's hard to get rid of stuff, because you do that a couple of times, and you're like, well, not doing that again.
Right.
And then you hang on to stuff.
Right, yep. I don't know. Just a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I mean, I have another friend, who's been posting on Facebook recently about minimalism, and he's got an even slightly different take, or a different thing he's focusing on anyway, which is just his spending. And for him, because he was already living a fairly simple life, I think, but what he really needed to cut back on is his energy drinks and his snacks and just small purchases all the time. So he wasn't even he didn't even have a lot of stuff everywhere. That's not what he was talking about, but he was putting himself in a position to where he couldn't really afford life, and he was always feeling financially stressed until he finally looked at his bank statement and was like, well, dear God, I spend $500 a month on bullshit.
Yeah.
And cutting that out, and he's gaining financial freedom from it. So that's another kind of spin on minimalism. That's not about physical things. It's about just thinking you need to spend money all the time, and that wasn't accumulating in his house, but it was still taking a toll on his finances, which by extension takes a toll on your free time because you have to work more.
Yeah.
In the name of what? Fucking Starbucks? You know what I mean? For 1 or 2 fucking Starbucks, you could buy a month's worth of coffee beans.
We're getting lazy, man. I know I fought this, but we really are. Everything is convenient. We're just sitting on our butts all day. Look at us doing it right now. And on our phones, on our computers, watching TV, blah, blah, blah. Order some food in. Order our groceries.
Yeah.
Order the handyman.
I think the other thing is they've made it so easy to buy stuff.
Yes.
And you're not thinking about it. It's so easy to push a button. It doesn't even feel like you're doing it until the end of the month when you're like, oh shit. But you don't even feel like you're buying things. Because it's so easy. It actually just reminded me of your grandpa too. That hilarious popcorn story. Because what you said was spot on, and even though it was ridiculous, it was also kind of right.
Yeah.
Because, do you want to tell the story?
Okay, alright. So, Nicole gets a text from my mother being like, hey, go check on Grandpa. Pretty sure he's got dementia or paranoid issues. I got a call from his, assisted living? Is that what it is?
Like an employee with the assisted living.
Yeah, the
place.
Yeah, the employee with the assisting living, and he wanted a bag of popcorn. She's like, that'll be $1. And he's like, popcorn, bitch. And freaking throws the popcorn back in the bin. And my mom's like, he's going crazy. I need to make some phone calls, And he's ready to leave. He calls her and he goes, I need to get out of here, fuck this place.
Fucking pimps.
And, my mom's talking about flying out here. And I'm like, no, he's fine. He probably went up there, wanted a popcorn, $1. That buys me like a whole bag of kernels. What the hell? Fuck that.
And that's your concept right there. That's minimalism in a nutshell. And even though it sounds insane to freak out over $1 for popcorn, because that's so little, the concept is you can buy a bag of popcorn that is probably like a fucking tiny little handful of kernels for $1, or for that same $1, you could have popcorn for a fucking month.
Right.
And, so even though it's on such a small scale, it seems ridiculous, that is true, and that's the heart of it. And that's the same thing we see with coffee. You can buy a Starbucks for $4, or you can buy a bag of coffee grounds for $5.
Yeah.
And, is it fun to go to Starbucks? Yes. But is it more fun to have financial freedom? Yes.
I know, cutting out fast food and going out to eat at restaurants and bars and stuff like that is so hard to cut out, but you feel it when you stop doing it. You're like, whoa, wait, what? I have like $100 to spend? Oh my God.
Well, and I think that's another catch-22. I think that's another cycle that we're in, where we're working so much that we become reliant on these small comforts. It's like, well, yeah, I know it's expensive, but my Starbucks break gets me through the day.
Right. It's like it's your one and your one little tiny sliver of happiness. It's like, just give me something delicious, you know, and yeah, even after work or whatever, I need, I had a hard day, I need to go reward myself with some booze or whatever.
Right, I'm gonna have a drink.
Yeah.
And again, same thing with drinks. You can go to the bar and you can spend $7 on a beer, or you can go to the liquor store and buy a 12-pack for that.
Right.
You know, like...
Yeah.
We just have to, be more mindful. And here's the thing, some people get a lot of value out of those things. Like, if going to a bar and having a beer with your friends is how you socialize, it's how you stabilize, it's how you decompress, if it's important to you like that, fine, do it. But be aware and make that decision and decide that's worth it for you. Don't just be doing it because that's what you're doing.
Right.
Just because you're on autopilot and then you're just in this mode of
right now
and spend and not worry about it.
Yeah. True.
I can relate though, because at my job, I work outside right now. I walk around all day outside, and the highlight of my day is, especially now because it's winter and it's cold as fuck, it's been in the teens, it's been, under 10 degrees sometimes. And one of the big comforts of my day is going into a coffee shop, getting a hot coffee, warming the fuck up. And it's an important part of my day. And I looked at our finances and I was like, wow, I've spent way too much. And for me, I was like, okay, well, that's because I let it get out of control. I stopped just buying a coffee. I started buying a fucking caramel frilly whatevers and a fucking muffin. And now I'm spending, and I'm going to tip them, so now it's $10.
Yep.
And $10 a day is very different than the $2 a day that I'm now spending on literally coffee. Because if you go in and say, I'll have a small coffee, it's like $2, and then you tip one or whatever. You're getting out for $3 a day versus 10 to 12 a day, and it's like...
Also, speaking of that, sorry to interrupt, I'm going to do this real quick. Do the whole, the cup challenge thing.
Cup challenge.
Fill up a small cup. Put it in a large cup, still fills up to the fucking brim. So just get a fucking small. It's all a scam anyway.
It is a fucking scam. You know what I was doing too? Here's the insane thing I realized, and this is so just a good example on what capitalism has done to us and consumerism has done to us. I was buying medium coffees because medium's just what I default to. That's what I have always gotten. So I'm going in on my 15-minute break and getting a medium coffee that's too hard to drink because it's fucking hot for 12 minutes on my 15-minute break. And then drinking a quarter of it and throwing the rest away.
Oh, God.
And I did this for like 5 days in a row before it occurred to me to get a fucking small. Because who cares, But you gotta add it up and look at it, and see what it accumulates into, because it does add up. It does make a difference. Here's something that I've just kind of... When people talk about their stuff and their inability to get rid of their stuff, one of the most common things that comes up that I can totally relate to, and in fact I've said this myself, is one of the biggest things I have, the hardest thing, the most major thing standing between me and having not a lot of stuff is my library.
Oh, yeah.
And I can relate, because I have a library. I have a big library. I have a lot of books. And they take up a lot of space, and they're heavy, and they're doing literally nothing, literally all the time.
Right.
But I can't get rid of them.
I know, you never read them again.
Yeah. Or if I do, it's maybe one more time after 10 years. Would it kill me to fucking check it out from a library again? fucking no.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, but we get so emotionally attached to our books. And you originally made me think of this when you were talking about your CDs. Because I'm like, it's similar.
Yeah, I have CDs everywhere.
Do you need them? No.
Do I need? Yeah, absolutely. Who uses a CD player anymore?
No one.
No one. I don't need it anymore. I've got a million iPhones. I have all my music on external hard drives. So I don't need it.
And I think that this goes back to trying to express your identity through stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just a CD to you. It's not just a book to me. It's a book that made me who I am, or made me have some crucial realization, or it was some extraordinary experience for me, and I'm emotionally attached to it. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking book that I never touch, or even they look nice. I like the way they look. I like what it says about this room aesthetically. I'm an author. I like to have books in my office.
Right.
That's not insane.
Yeah.
But is it? Like.
Yeah. I actually keep the CDs for their booklets. You don't get that with MP3s.
Right.
So I get all super attached to those, and I don't know if you even remember, but there used to be like hidden messages in some of these booklets. I know A Perfect Circle, they had their first album had all these little symbols and stuff. And it was like an anagram. So I figured it all out. I wrote it in with pen and everything. It's just the titles of the songs and credits and a little bit of lyrics and whatever. But that was so fun, all the cool stuff, hidden stuff. I used to pop open the jewel cases where the CD sits. Sometimes if you pop that open, the slip inside, if you open that up, there's something in there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's fun. See, this brings me back around, too, though, to,
But how often do I look at it?
Never. Exactly. And that's... we're back to the beginning now with the let go thing.
Yeah.
I have this beautiful experience with a book, and I think that I need to have that book forever. Yeah. You have this fun experience with discovering some, cool thing hidden in a CD jacket.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it. You've already had the experience.
Yep.
You don't need the thing anymore, but we feel like we do.
Yeah.
I read that book. I had that experience. It's part of me. I don't need the physical book unless I'm going to read it again, but I probably won't. I don't really reread books, once in a very great while because, I know some people do, but I don't because I feel like there's more books out there than I'll ever read as it is. I can't spend time rereading shit I've already read. But, and then for you, is it fun? Yes, but how often are you doing that? Going back and looking at it. You can't have that experience. You can't feel, oh my god, look what I just found again, because it's there now. But we somehow think that by keeping these things, we're, keeping that experience alive, but we already have that experience. We don't need the thing anymore. Right.
It feels like a pice of history or something. I keep feeling like I'm going to show somebody. Be like, oh, look at this. No one's going to give a fuck. No one cares. It's just as fun for them just to hear it out your mouth, it's, no.
My one final excuse I have for my books, too, is I like the feel of a book. I like smelling my books.
Yeah.
I like just the touch of them and stuff. That's why I can't commit to just going with the ebook library, because that's what a lot of people do now, and it makes a lot of sense. Because now you have one computer or one tablet or whatever instead of 8,000 books. But that's what it lacks. It lacks the character of a book in your hands that's been bent or battered or got a little wet, or you put notes in it maybe, or just the smell and feel of it, But if you're the type of person that's always reading, you're always going to have a book. And you don't need to keep it forever. You do whatever you donate it, or you give it back to the library, or whatever it's going to be, and then you have a new book. You still have a book to smell and touch and feel and have that experience with.
Yeah.
So... that's my big thing. That's my big hurdle that I have a very tough emotional time letting go of.
I was just thinking about this, but I was just thinking about tossing all my CDs.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I think my first step in the hurdle is I'm going to toss the actual discs themselves and keep the booklets.
Yeah.
And then later on
I'll
work on letting go.
How funny is that, though? You bought it originally for the disc, though. You know what I mean? And now that's the least valuable part.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think we're just craving, true art and true connection, because there's something so impersonal about everything being online and on a screen. Yeah, and then even though, yes, this book's amazing, it lacks that personal quality when it's on a screen. And that's the same thing with the booklets. You know, you can hear that song online, but it lacks that touch, that artistry.
Yeah, the senses. It engages 0 senses other than you're just looking at it, you know, versus smelling it and touching it and just really engaging with it.
And in the sense of minimalism as it comes to technology, maybe getting rid of all our stuff and converting to a computer is the exact wrong move. Maybe what we need to be detaching from is our computers and our phones and embrace the library, embrace the booklets.
Oh, snap. Yeah. But then you still have a lot of crap. Yes, but you do still have a simpler life, no? So, but I want to say yes, but some stuff is too difficult without a computer. Like, I can't do my job without the computer.
Right, and I couldn't really realistically either.
Right.
I mean, I do enjoy writing in a notebook, and I do it a lot, but getting through the entire publishing process would be impossible without one.
Mm-hmm. Can't edit videos without fucking technology.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then uploading everything, sending it off to people, social media.
I don't think that all that stuff is evil, though. It's evil that it has taken over our lives so thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, and that's, again, minimalism. Minimalism doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean living in a fucking hole in the woods. You can have a computer, just let's not stare at it 8 hours a day. You know, you can have Netflix, but do you need to binge watch? Maybe not. Even though it's really fun. You know, like, I don't know, just a minimalist there too. Not that you're not going to have it at all, but you're going to keep it minimal. You're going to keep it bare. You're going to use it for what you actually need it for.
Right, that's really what minimalism is all about. Keeping the shit you
need.
Yeah.
Need. Mm-hmm. So for you need it to do your career. That's justified. That passes the test.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook could probably go.
My business one has to stay.
True. See, that's the thing too. Is that like as being part of a culture and a community and a society, you get wrapped up in this where because everyone else needs it, now you need it too.
Exactly. So I'm screwed. Yeah, it's like hard to advertise without your Facebook. You're, oh, well, do you have a YouTube link I could share? You have a Facebook thing I can do? Whatever. And it's like, no, here's a DVD with your video.
Right.
You know, so that you can't make a name for yourself really that way. And you're just forced to. You're just forced to.
Mm-hmm. It's like my friend that I was just talking to about, you know, his little journey with minimalism. He mentioned taking a lot of shit for this.
What?
For going minimalist. They're like, come on, live it up, YOLO. Like, why you gotta be so rigid, you know? Like, why, like, live it up, loosen up. Why you being like that? You know?
Yeah.
Taking a lot of shit for trying to simplify his life just because he cut out stupid spending. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if it impacts them in any way, if they're like, hey, let's go to the bar, and he's like, no. Like, they're like, come on, you only live once. Like, come on, don't you want to have fun? Like, come on. Like, and just getting, like, really harped on about, like, basically having a stick up his ass.
Yeah, because they change the friends. It's kind of like alcoholics who can't go to the bar anymore. They have to change all their friends and whatever.
Yeah. It's tough, though, when you live in a world of consumers, you know? Who do you change your friends to, you know? Like, that's a hard tribe to find.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we reach any conclusions?
Is there a conclusion? We like minimalism.
Let it go. Yeah. No, we like it, but it totally acknowledge that it's hard and we have our own hang-ups and everyone's got different ones.
Yeah. Needs matter most. Focus on your needs, not so much the wants. And you will probably live a happier life.
I think minimalism too is about thinking more big picture. Less immediate pleasure, more life happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I remember, I had a random memory all of a sudden. I remember on MTV, they went to, like, Moby's house, and he's, like, super minimalist. It was, like, cribs or some shit like that. But it was, like, just this tiny little space, and I'm like, look at the bed. Here's the one table, 5 angles, you know, and It was so funny.
That fucks people up so bad.
They hated it.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not like it.
Yeah. Like, you're a millionaire and this is your house. Fuck you. Like, they get mad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, so what? You know?
Yeah.
Now he gets to truly spend it on stuff he wants to do.
Right.
Probably life experiences, traveling, helping other people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. I don't know. Let it go. We need to watch that movie.
What movie is it?
Frozen.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just, like, hear it all the time.
Yeah, all those little videos, those little girls all dressed up like Elsa singing it.
Oh, I didn't even know it was Frozen.
Oh,
I don't get Frozen. Like, I haven't watched it, so, like, obviously I don't get it, but, like, I don't get the appeal. Like, I just
it's
remember...
a cartoon. Kids love cartoons.
Well, I like cartoons.
Yeah.
But, like, that one just never looked interesting to me, but then it becomes this mega phenomenon.
Yeah.
And I can't say
know.
much
Well,
without having seen it, but...
It's just a matter of preference. Like, everybody loved Incredibles 2, and I was, like, falling asleep. I'm pretty sure I did fall asleep
Yeah,
in the
you
middle
did.
of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I felt like I was being fucking hypnotized.
Mm-mm.
As soon as when I got that little warning on the movie theater screen where it's like, warning, this movie is flashing lights, and that first scene that came up where they're like, hypnotized, blue, 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 I'm like, oh! No! Look away! What are they doing to these children? But that's just me and my everything's a conspiracy theory thing.
More coming on conspiracy theories next time.
Oh, where to start? Well, this has been Mile High Thoughts with Nicole.
And Cassandra.
Have a wonderful life. How do you end these things?
Right? Bye.
Do the Shane Dawson
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.